interrupted?
No, I'm fine now. It's good now. It's back on Monday, but last week was just the tornado was bad. So.
Okay. Should we start with the prayers? Yeah? Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Himanshu.
Himanshu.
Yes.
Kirti, how are you? Are you friends?
Yeah. He actually he's visiting me for this week. So I thought I'll just visit him.
Yes, absolutely. Where are you visiting from?
University of Delaware, Delaware State.
Delaware State. Up north?
Not really.
All the way in the east.
Yes. Nearby New Jersey.
Yeah.
East. Big below New York.
Thank you.
How do you know each other?
We were classmates in our masters.
Oh, I
And
see.
we have done masters in India. And then we applied for PhD together here.
So, Alex, what happened to Mama?
Same. Busy.
I'm not sure, but I think he seems a little busy for this week.
Mama is busy.
Even Mohit is busy. He has a class today.
Okay.
So
No.
He said,
yeah, but he asked me to record and send him the link.
Okay. I was born in the darkest ignorance. In my spiritual master, open my eyes to the approach of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances and prayer. Venerable Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances under his lotus feet.
I offer my respectful obeisances and lotus feet of Sri Goswami, all of his other brothers, Sanatana Goswami, as well as the I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, along with the Acharya, the Radharshi, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with the associates to the Radharshi.
Oh my dear Krishna.
You are the Christ and the source of creation. You know my life of the covenants and the lover of the gopis, especially Sri Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances to you. I offer my respectful obeisances all living freshness like all the world. There's the Queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of kings. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. I offer my obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Devotees, before we start and we jump into Gita, any burning questions?
So, yes, difference between soul, consciousness, and just energy.
Difference between soul, consciousness, and energy. Consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Consciousness is the symptom of the presence of the soul. Spiritual presence is exemplified by presence of consciousness. This table is inert, it has no consciousness. But a tree outside, it grows, it feels pain, it responds, it bears fruit, flowers, colors, it sheds its leaves. All of this is symptom of consciousness. So that means there is a spirit present beneath it. So soul and consciousness, are two similar synonymous things. Consciousness is the symptom of the soul. If consciousness is present, that means spirit is present. Krishna explains in the 7th chapter, if you open 7.4 and 7.5.
7.4.
So page, chapter 7, verse 4. Anybody can read the verses, 7.4 and 7.5.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
And read text 5.
Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
Read text 6.
All created beings have their source in these two natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution.
Now, text 5, Krishna says, beside this, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind. That energy, that superior energy is this, spirit soul. But which comprises the living entities. But what is their qualification? They are busy exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. They are busy in exploitation, and because they are busy in exploitation, they have forgotten their real nature, which is pure consciousness. The more the superior energy, it focuses and it tries to lord over this inferior material energy, which is earth, water, air, fire, ether, and mind, intelligence, and ego. These are also material energies. These are separated. Krishna says this mind, intelligence, and ego, these are my separated material energies. The more we try to use the mind, so for example, let's say I eat something good. I feel good. Okay, I can see that this is gross sense gratification, but I do things which are pleasurable to my mind. I'm simply providing now pleasure to my mind. Mind is one of the sense, material sense, which tries to enjoy things. So the more mind is addicted to enjoyment, actually the more one suffers. Like if you eat too much rasgulla, you suffer. Although it's pleasurable, the more mind is addicted to sense gratification, allowed to indulge in senses, it suffers. Intelligence, buddhi, is also material. It's a separated material energy. Why is intelligence classified as material here? Because, let's say, my mind wants something. My buddhi now follows that dictation of the mind to help mind accomplish it. If my mind has made up its mind that it wants heroin, a person can be the most intelligent, he can figure out the most intelligent ways to procure heroin. So this is also material. And this ahankar, there is real ego, which is spiritual, and there is false ego. So there is real ego and there is false ego. There is real intelligence, actually, and there is false intelligence. There is real mind and there is false mind. Krishna is talking here about mind, intelligence, and ego as a separated material energy, yes? But then Krishna says, I'll talk to you about the real mind. The real mind is explained in the 6th chapter. Read 623.
This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joy state, one is created in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses, established thus one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact.
Read the first paragraph of the purport.
By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. This is the primary characteristic of the yoga principle. And after this, one becomes situated in trance or samadhi, which means that the yogi realizes the super soul, the transcendental mind, and intelligence.
So here Krishna is talking about transcendental mind and transcendental intelligence. Keep reading.
Without any of the misgivings of identifying the self with the super self. Yoga practice is more or less based on the principles of the Patanjali system. Some unauthorized commentators try to identify the individual soul with the super soul, and the monists think this to be liberation, but they do not understand the real purpose of the Patanjali system of yoga. There is an acceptance of transcendental pleasure in the Patanjali system, but the monists do not accept this transcendental pleasure out of fear of jeopardizing the theory of oneness. The duality, knowledge and knower, is not accepted by the non-dualists, but in this verse, transcendental pleasure realized through transcendental senses is accepted.
Okay, so we'll stop here. Now, some of these concepts are difficult, but the soul actually, so in this body, there is a gross body. Okay, we all understand that, 5 elements. There is a subtle body. That subtle body, which is material at this point, because it is engrossed with matter, because it is engrossed in enjoying matter, it has mind, intelligence, and ego. Yes? Here Krishna talks about that this material mind, actually, so mind, intelligence, and false ego. The spirit soul, the real spirit soul, pure consciousness, also has a transcendental mind, intelligence, and real ego. Real ego. So basically what's happening is that something which is real, a soul, by the way, has a form. Like I have a material form right now. The soul has a swarupa. We read in the introduction. It has its real, original, spiritual form, which is an eternal form. That spirit soul also has a transcendental mind, intelligence, and ego. That real ego is that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. That's real ego. He acts on that platform. He also has a transcendental mind and a transcendental intelligence. This entity has now become covered over by a subtle body. A subtle body, a subtle energy, which is so like for example, a mirror has been covered over by dust. All you see is dust. So this entity, this real entity has been covered over by sort of false ego, a material mind, and an intelligence which is polluted. A polluted intelligence. So there is a sort of a dichotomy between these two situations. And we are not able to really understand this. Now here Prabhupada is saying that in this stage of perfection called samadhi, one's mind is restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind. And to relish and rejoice in the self. So a little bit about consciousness, the soul. There are two different energies. The spirit soul is out of ignorance, out of complete bewilderment. Basically, it's all a function of ignorance.
And that's the ignorance is coming from us, not the material ignorance. That's we are choosing.
Yes, it's a choice. Okay, let's stick with this thought here. Yeah, let's stick with this thought that the spirit soul in its pure state has a pure spiritual mind, pure ego, and through that service, I'm situated in boundless happiness. But I need a false designation. I need to be covered by a material energy to actually function and live in this world. So that false energy is this mind, intelligence, and ego. It is like a coat which is a facsimile. Like when I wear a coat, it looks very close to my bodily figure, yes? If it fits well, it feels very real, it feels very good, yes? And it looks like, oh, my figure, I look very beautiful in this coat or in this dress. You know, people have what figure-hugging dresses, so they look very close. But ultimately, it's a dress, it's a covering. But it gives a nice figure. Huh? So now we have this false ego, mind and intelligence. This is made up of material energy. This is a subtle dress I have been given. It has been given to me so that I can enjoy, so I can function in this world, so I can make sense of things. It's a designation, it's a false designation. So that's a little bit about, and consciousness means just that the soul is present. When the spiritual spark, when the spiritual energy leaves, then there is no life. Okay, this much. Okay, so we're starting with anything else?
Is Swarupa and Sanatana Dharma the same?
Swarupa means my eternal constitutional position, my eternal form, eternal nature, eternal activities, purified mind. That is Swarupa. Sanatana Dharma, we do not believe, we differentiate between Dharma and religion. This religion, that religion. Okay, for example, sugar. What is the nature of sugar? To be sweet. What is the nature of fire? What is the nature of water? To be wet. A thing, what is its most fundamental, irreducible nature? The nature of Atma is to serve. We are always serving. We are serving our false mind predilections. We are serving. Husband is serving wife, wife is serving husband, you're serving children, you're serving your dog, you're serving your cat. President says, give me vote. You go to Walmart, how may I serve you? This in the Walmart. The service is going on. It is going on. It is your essential nature. When that service attitude and this essential nature becomes fixed upon Godhead, then that is Sanatana Dharma. And there is no difference between many religions of this world or anything. It is my duty, it is my nature, it is my predilection to serve. I'm always serving somebody. And it is a false idea to think that I'm enjoying. Actually, I become addicted to something, then I'm serving my mind. My mind says, do this, I have to do it. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. I may think that I'm enjoying. In the beginning, it may seem like an enjoyment, but now I have to do it. My mind inexorably sort of works in a loop. It is used to a certain form of service, which it thinks to be false enjoyment. So that is called Sanatana Dharma. When that service attitude naturally flows towards Bhagavan and all his parts and parcels, then that is Sanatana Dharma. That is called eternal religion. Okay, Karthik?
I think the same question only from
Same question.
but how it is different from Swarupa?
That is my original Swarupa. So Sanatana Dharma is a broad umbrella under which Swarupa, my Swarup is to my Roop, my original form is to be a part and parcel of Krishna, to serve Krishna. Okay. So
Is it true even for atheists who don't believe in God?
atheist is not believing in God, but if you closely observe his life, he's serving somebody. When we say the concept of worship, an atheist might have a particular predilection for, let's say, a musician or a rock star. He may have a whole collection, he may put photographs of that, or he may have, there is a person I know who collects coins. All day and night he collects coins. He goes all over the world, travel to different shows to collect coins. Is he not serving? Can service be separated? No. Can service be separated? No. And Prabhupada made a point which may sound a little sort of a rude and sort of not socially appropriate. He said, if you don't serve God, the nature of you is because to serve, you will find a dog and you will serve him. So God and dog, He says that is the nature. This is a real nature of person to serve. So he'll find something to serve. Somebody serving society, community, nation. People go happily to war because they want to serve. That's their nature. They become martyred very happily. Very happily, people who join armies, they become martyrs. It's the nature to sacrifice, to serve, to give up for a higher cause.
What about terrorists?
Right, they're also serving a particular ideal. They're serving their masters. Very happily they serve. So that's the idea. Okay? Anything else? Okay, so chapter 1, okay? Chapter 1 is not very philosophical. Chapter 1 is just like setting the scene and the introduction and what we read. Chapter 1 has some good ideas though. Arjuna gives the reasons not to fight. That is the main essence of chapter 1. And in the end, our acharyas explain that a person who's interested in self-realization, generally they have a very, very soft heart, which they don't really want to hurt anybody. And that is a very good qualification to actually receive knowledge. Humility is actually a prerequisite to receive knowledge. So Arjuna's real qualities as a gentleman come forth in chapter 1 of Gita. We will just look through the chapter main verses. Can somebody read text 1?
You can start, like, you know, like,
Yes, but we have 5 verses each, huh? So we can just go like this. Okay.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Now this question may sound redundant. They're already in the battle. Every peaceful negotiation, every diplomatic effort has failed. They're now together, ready to fight. Why is he asking what did they do? He's asking what did they do because there are 2 reasons. Number 1, Kurukshetra is a place of pilgrimage. It is a very holy place. And he was afraid that under the influence of the holy place, Dhritarashtra's or Duryodhana's mind may change and he may give back half the kingdom to the Pandavas. Or he was hopeful that Pandavas' mind may change and they may take up the profession of begging and give the entire kingdom to Duryodhana. So he's thinking like that. So he's asking Sanjaya. Sanjaya has been given a gift of clairvoyance by his guru Vyasadeva. So he asked this question. Another interesting idea in this verse is Bhagavad Gita starts with Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra. Dharma Kshetra can be dharma, place of spirituality, religion, theology, philosophy. And Kurukshetra is our worldly duties. And there is a Yuyutsava, this word Samaveta. Yuyutsava means war. The Japanese word Jujutsu, from which judo comes, also comes from the Sanskrit word Yuyutsava. Samaveta Yuyutsava. So there's always this battle in our own life between, the dharma and our duties, yes. But here also in text 1, there is a very interesting duality. Dhritarashtra is saying, Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, my sons and the sons of Pandu. He makes a distinction. After Pandu died, Dhritarashtra was supposed to be the de facto father of everybody.
It's 8:10 p.m.
Conception of life, that he could never make any detached, proper decisions. In fact, it is said in spiritual life that we are all one in the sense that there is nothing me and him. That's where duality and mindness and attachments begin. A real spiritual consciousness is that every living entity is part and parcel of their brothers and sisters of the same father. But here Dhritarashtra is saying, Mamaka Pandava, my sons and the sons of Pandu. What did they do? So there is a duality which is introduced. There is talk about our spiritual duties versus our material duties. There is this idea of that a holy place can influence one's thoughts. So it's good to have a little sacred space in your apartment or in your home where you can do some meditation every day. That's very nice to have. Now, in text 2, Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Okay, so Duryodhana sees the army, he feels very nervous, then he goes to his teacher for consultation. A good idea of diplomacy and politics. Always consult with superiors before you embark on a journey. Text 3.
O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada.
He says to Dronacharya, O my teacher, behold this army. See, don't take it lightly. Behold this army, expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Do you see any sarcasm in this? Why did he not say Dhrishtadyumna? Why did he say your intelligent disciple, look, behold this army which is arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Why he says like this?
To make fun of his teacher.
Why? Why is he being sarcastic and making fun of his teacher?
He's jealous that other parties the soldiers are
He-
arranged better than.
He's taught the knowledge to his disciple, and the disciple is now using it against him.
Yes, that's one reason. So Drupada and Dronacharya are two central figures in Mahabharata. They both, Drupada and Dronacharya, went to the same teacher to learn martial art. And they were in their school, and Drupada was the son of a king, and Dronacharya was a poor Brahmin. One day, they had deep friendship. One day, Drupada, out of his friendship, said, don't worry about all of this. When we grow up, I'll give half my kingdom to you. And they grew up, they finished their education. Drupada went his own way, Dronacharya went his own way. And Drupada became a big king, and Dronacharya remained poor. Dronacharya had a son, Ashwatthama. And his wife said, our son don't have milk to drink. So why don't you go and ask Drupada? So Dronacharya went to Drupada's kingdom, to his palace. Not to ask for half the kingdom, he asked him to ask for one cow. And Drupada said, friendship? What friendship? Friendship is among equals. You get out of it. And Dronacharya's heart really broke. First he didn't want it to come, then there was an emergent need, and his old friend sort of treated him like this. So Dronacharya made up his mind that he will destroy Drupada. And he then went and became the teacher of the Kurus, which meant the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And when the time was up for Guru Dakshina, he asked Kurus. All the Kurus along with Karna, they went and they got soundly defeated by Drupada. And then Arjuna and Pandavas went, and Arjuna single-handedly defeated everybody and bound up Drupada and brought him like a dog. And Dronacharya said, okay, now you can go. I'll take half the kingdom, half is yours, half is mine. Now Drupada, for him to bear that insult, was too much. So he made the sacrifice, where out of the sacrificial fire came out Draupadi and Drishtadyumna. So Drishtadyumna was the son of Drupada, who was very powerful, and he was specifically born out of the fire to avenge against Dronacharya. But Drishtadyumna went to Dronacharya for military training, and that was the culture. They would never discriminate. Whoever would come, they would give the training. So Dronacharya, like a proper Brahmana, gave the training to Drishtadyumna. That Drishtadyumna became the commander-in-chief of Pandavas. So here Duryodhana, in text 3,
How did Drishtadyumna become friends with Pandavas? Because Pandavas had caught Drupada. Arjuna was the one who actually caught his father, and
yes.
they beat him.
So in this war, Drupada is the enemy of Dronacharya. And Drupada's daughter Draupadi married the fire. So ultimately that animosity between Arjuna and Drupada was resolved by Draupadi. And Drupada and his kingdom was the biggest ally of Pandavas in this war with Kauravas, in which Dronacharya is present. Yes? Okay. So now that's why this text 3 is spoken like that. O my teacher, behold this great army, which is so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. In text 4, he again mentions Drupada. So keep reading quickly.
Here in this army are many heroic women equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yudhana, Virata and Drupada.
Yuyudhana, Virata and Drupada. Now this is the army of Pandavas. So what Duryodhana is doing, he's taking a stock. He's just taking measurement and taking a stock. Whom do we have to fight? Here again he mentions Drupada, so that he can really rile Dronacharya. Duryodhana is talking to Dronacharya, he's saying this is your enemy, mortal enemy. Remember Drupada? You have to fight with him. Okay, text 5, he names some more fighters.
There are also great heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Sekitana, Kasiraja, Kuruji, Kunti Puja, and Sargya.
There are the mighty Yudhimanyu, the very powerful Utmoja, the son of Subala and the son of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
After taking a stock of the enemy, now he will take a stock of his own army.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karan, Karpa, Ashwathama, Vikrana, and the son of Somadatta called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military sciences. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
What he's trying to do is he's trying to encourage his own teacher, encourage himself. You know, like before the war, before a fight, you try to slap your sides, you try to rile yourself up. He's talking about all of the personalities. He says, in text 8, he says there are personalities like you. But of course, Bhishma is standing there, and Bhishma is the most powerful. Then he says, Bhishma. Hopefully, Karna will not take offense. Karna, although a friend of Duryodhana, told Duryodhana, I will not fight as long as Bhishma is fighting. If Bhishma and Karna both would have fought Pandavas, it would have been very difficult for Pandavas. But Karna was so egotistical that he says, unless you make me the commander-in-chief of the army, and I am the general, I will not fight. So only after Bhishma died, Karna started fighting. This was Karna's friendship. Ashwathama, of course, the son of Vikarna. He specifically mentions Vikarna when Draupadi was disrobed in the assembly. Out of the 100 brothers Duryodhana had, Vikarna was the only one who resisted it. Who said, what are you doing? This is sin. So he wanted to make sure that Vikarna doesn't have any more soft spot left for Pandavas. So he's using his diplomatic and military genius to name some of his own commander-in-chief so that they all fight for him. Okay?
Is there any reason that Krishna's name is not taken by Duryodhana at any point of time?
Krishna said, I will not fight. Duryodhana was really a fool. I mean, in some ways, Krishna is there in the battlefield. Krishna came to him and he said, you can have me, or you can have all of my Akshahani Sena. And he said, no, I'll take your Akshahani Sena. I'll take the support of all the Yadus and all of the people who are in your clan to fight this battle. Krishna came as a peacemaking messenger at the last minute, and Duryodhana said, let's tie him up. So Krishna showed him his universal form, half of his universal form. But Duryodhana still doesn't get it. It's kind of like that. He just doesn't get it.
All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. The Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell with very loudly, making a sound like a roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
Bhishma said, okay, you stop your diplomacy, you stop your talking, let me do my job now. So he blows the conch shell.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
This white chariot, great chariot, was built by Vishwakarma. It was given as a gift to Arjuna by none other than Agni, the fire god. When Arjuna had to spend 1 year incognito, he went to heavenly planets and he got the blessings and he prepared for this war and he received many, many beautiful gifts, including his flag. Also his chariot has a flag of Hanuman. One time Bhima went to Badrinath. There he found some very fragrant lotuses, and Draupadi said, "Can you please bring more of these?" As he was going in search of lotuses, he come across a monkey. And Bhima said, "Oh monkey, get out of my way." He said, "Oh, I'm kind of tired. If you want to move, you can move." So Bhima just kicked his tail, but Bhima's leg got hurt. And no matter how much he tried, he could not move his tail. And Bhima accepted his defeat, and the monkey said, "I'm Hanuman." And that we are both sons of Vayu, and that we are both brothers. And I will be personally present on the chariot of Arjuna when you fight this decisive battle of your life. So a lot of blessings were on Arjuna's side. Okay.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of the Herculean task, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundarya.
Conch is a symbol of Vishnu. Conch is considered very auspicious, and conch is often blown in Vedic ceremonies. Okay. 16, 17, 18 are very simple again, just naming different fighters, the main fighters and their conches.
King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Anand Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sugosha and Manik Pushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, and unconquerable Satyaki.
One of the things you can look up individually these fighters. Who was Virata? Who was Satyaki? These are very, very popular and powerful fighters who ruled this world 5,000 years ago. Central characters of Mahabharata. Shikhandi, obviously, does anybody know the story of Shikhandi? Who was Shikhandi in his previous life?
He was I think Amba, right?
He was Amba, correct.
So his body was transformed into half of in Amba river, in some river, and then half. Then he worshipped that Lord Shiva again. That because she wanted to
Revenge, correct. So the story goes briefly as this: that the king of Hastinapur, Vichitravirya, is looking for a wife. And Bhishma had taken her vow, "I will never become the king, I will never get married, and I will never take up the throne," in promise to his mother. Because his stepmother wanted her children to be the king, Satyavati. So when time for Vichitravirya's wedding came, Bhishma went to Kashi to look for a proper bride, and he found these three sisters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. And he brought all three of them to marry Vichitravirya. Now Ambika and Ambalika were very happy, but Amba already had given her heart to another king. She had an affair. When Bhishma was taking all three of them, that other king, his name was Shalya, he fought with Bhishma, but Bhishma defeated him badly. Took all the three and took him to Vichitravirya's chamber. Ambika and Ambalika were happy, they were marrying a very powerful king. But Amba said, "I'm very sorry, I have given my heart already." So Vichitravirya was a gentleman. He said, "No worries, you can just go back to him." So she ran into the arms of her lover, and he said that, "I'm really sorry now. First of all, this is not our culture. I was defeated by Bhishma, you were taken to Vichitravirya, there is no way I can accept you. So then Amba went back to Vichitravirya, and Vichitravirya said, I'm really sorry, I cannot accept you, this is not our culture. You have already given your heart to somebody else, and this is not how it works. So then Amba approached Bhishma. He said, you are the reason for this entire problem. Had you asked me before you did all of this, nothing would have happened, so now you should marry. And Bhishma said, no, I will die, but I will not marry. So Amba then said, okay, she was a Kshatrani, she was the daughter of a king. She said, now in this situation, I will be the cause of your death. But in this body, I cannot do that. So meditating on Bhishma's death, she self-immolated herself and gave up her body and took the birth as Shikhandi. She was a transgender. She took the birth as a powerful warrior, male body, but in her mind, she was a woman. Bhishma, finally when Arjuna could not kill Bhishma, Shikhandi came in the front, and both Shikhandi and Arjuna volleyed their arrows at Bhishma, and then finally Bhishma died. So this is how Shikhandi himself was a very, very, very powerful warrior in this situation. You're okay, Charita, with this
I
story?
don't know anything about Mahabharata. I'm like overwhelmed with all the characters.
Okay, but
So
some of this is making, some
Yeah.
of this is remembering your memory. Okay, it's been revived.
Yeah.
Mahabharat, there is a Mahabharat and Ramayana by Krishna Dharma, by a devotee called Krishna Dharma. He has done a very good job with Mahabharat. Hridayananda Das Goswami has also written a very nice, smart, short novel on Mahabharat. Very nicely written. Okay. So they all blew their conch shell. Text 19.
One question might be a little controversial, but about Shikhandi being a transgender. So even in current generation, there are now that type of people are many that they have the body of something and their consciousness and all their desires and thinking are of some other gender. And some people call it as a disease. That no, this is wrong. And some people try to avoid them, neglect them, keep them separate. They think that it's disease. Just our social community in general. So as per our scriptures,
As per our scriptures, there should not be a ground for discrimination. Shikhandi was accepted just as it is. Arjuna also lived as a transgender, Brihanlala, for about a year in the kingdom of I forgot the name of the kingdom, but he lived as a Virata. Yes, he's mentioned here. He lived in the kingdom of Virata, and
But Arjuna was a warrior. How would he become?
he dressed himself up as a transgender.
He was cursed. He was cursed.
Well, they have to live incognito. The Pandavas had to live incognito for 1 year out of their 13 years. So they all went to the kingdom of Virata. Bhima became a cook. Draupadi became a maid servant of the daughter of Virata. Arjuna became a dancer. He actually dressed himself as a transgender, and he approached the king and he said, the king had put an advertisement that I want a qualified teacher to teach my daughter dancing and singing. Arjuna had just returned from heavenly planets, and he said, I am the one who will teach your daughter dancing and singing. And he was accepted in the society. According to Krishna consciousness, LGBTQ, everybody is the same spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. We're all brothers and sisters. There's no room or any question of discrimination. Transgenders and lesbians had always existed, and gays, and they were, in Vedic culture, they were respected tremendously for their art, for their contribution, for their skills, for their music. They're very gifted individuals in many ways, and basically whatever the natural talents and gifts one has, it should be used in the service of Krishna. Now, personal personal code of conduct. The word itself has changed. Sex was considered as binary, 0 and 1. You have male, you have female, and you have male, okay? But this no longer exists. This idea of men and women no longer exists in this world, in this day and age. So basically you have a continuum of sex from female to male, and you will find more and more people anywhere in this continuum, regardless of their body type. And 9% of the population fits into this continuum. And so whatever it is now. The main thing is to devote and dovetail one's talents, abilities, and consciousness in the service of God. That is the central message of prayer. Then there's no room at all for any discrimination or any prejudice. There's no room for any prejudice at all. So Arjuna took the form of Brihanlala. Draupadi became the maid servant of Virata's daughter. Yudhishthir became, he also took up a menial job, and Nakul and Sahadev became horsemen. They would take care of the horses.
Who's Virata?
He's a king.
Oh, and they were incognito because of curse?
So the curse was, so the condition was that they lost everything. They lost everything. When they lost Draupadi, Dhritarashtra objected. He said, give everything back. He gave everything back. Then there was a final match of dice in which he lost again. And then the condition was that they go to the forest for 13 years. They can have their freedom, but they go to the forest for 13 years. And they have to live incognito for 1 year. And if their disguise is busted, then there will be another 13 years of forest. So it's an interesting story. In that last year, they are living in the kingdom of Virata, and finally Kauravas figured it out that these people are not ordinary. So they attacked Virata's kingdom in the last few days. And there is this battle where Karna and Bhishma and everybody is there. All of Duryodhan, everybody is Shishupal is there. They're all willing to attack this Virata kingdom, and they basically one by one killed everybody in Virata's kingdom. So on the final day of the battle, Virata is only left with his son. And so he dispatched his son. And Draupadi told, this was the last day of their exile. Draupadi told the queen, the daughter of Virata, that tell your brother to take Brihanlala as a charioteer. So she said, really? And she said, yes, everything will be fine, just do that. And they did that. And on the first day, as they were driving, the sun set and there was, the exile was over. The next day, Arjuna broke his disguise and he was the charioteer, and he took the chariot in the middle. They were the Arjuna and Virata's son. And there is this huge Kuru army. And Arjuna single-handedly killed all of them. And all of these people had to retreat and run away. And Karna was there too. So this is a little pastime about Brihanlala. But yeah, she was accepted. She was appointed as a guardian of the king's daughter. And we see here in Shikhandi, he's accepted as he is. So
the war happened 13 years after this ruling.
Correct. So this happened, this particular incident happened 13 years after, and then they came back and they said, okay, return half the kingdom. He said no. And they said, give me 5 villages. They said no. He said, I will not give you enough land to drive the head of a pin. And that you should just go and simply beg in the forest. So then after that, there was a lot of diplomatic missions trying to convince him that, these are also Kshatriyas. You have to give the kingdom back. And then finally the war was inevitable. Otherwise, this word would have been a really messed up place. It's already a messed up place, but it would have been a bigger messed up place. Okay, so moving on.
The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
Arjuna wants to see one last time before he starts the slaughter who's out there. And Krishna very expertly takes him right in front of Drona and Bhishma. Drona was his teacher, Bhishma was his grandsire, and he says, okay, now, behold. He uses the word, behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here, so that Arjuna also falls into illusion. Text 26.
When the son of Kunti, text 26, there Arjuna could see, within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth crying out. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on the end, my bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Kesi demon.
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are not arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-laws, grandsons, brother-in-laws, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the 3 words, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
Why is Arjuna refusing to fight here? What is the reason he is giving?
Calling us his people.
Compassion. He's seeing this mindless, senseless battle which is going to happen for attaining a kingdom. So he's saying, so number one, his reason is compassion. What other reason he gives? Second reason he gives is enjoyment. What am I going to enjoy? Ultimately, people enjoy with their family. He says, if I kill all of my family members, if everybody dies, then who will I, oh Govinda, to what avail us kingdom, happiness, or life itself, when all those for whom we may desire are now arrayed on this battlefield? So he gives a reason, enjoyment, that I will not be able to enjoy. There is compassion. He will not be able to enjoy. Okay, keep reading.
Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
So his third reason for not fighting is fear of sin. And he's saying, this aggression, what is the purpose of the aggression? Now in the purport, read the purport.
According to Vedic injections, there are 6 kinds of aggressors. A poison giver.
Okay, so there are 6 kinds of people who are actually, according to the Vedic injunction, can be killed. Number 1 is somebody gives me poison. Were Pandavas given poison? Do you remember that story where Bhima was given a cake, which was basically filled with poison? Bhima loved to eat. Duryodhana, they were about 6 or 7 years old. Duryodhana fed him so much poison that it will kill 1,000 elephants. And they tied him up after poisoning him and threw him in the river. And Varuna comes and saves him, and the other snakes which were living in the water, they bit him, and they untied him, and the Bhima comes out as if nothing has happened. So that was one story, a poison giver. The second,
one who sets fire to the house.
Were Pandava's house ever set on fire?
Yes.
Duryodhana says, you must be very tired, I have built a vacation home for you, or a vacation rental. Why don't you go and enjoy there? Says, okay, fine, he's giving such a nice offer. Free vacation rental. And it was basically a fire trap. Okay, the third one?
One who attacks with deadly weapons.
One who attacks with deadly weapons. Many times Kauravas tried to kill Pandavas when they were unsuspecting.
One who plunders riches.
Shakuni tried to cheat them in the dice game. Okay?
One who occupies another's land.
Like they would not give them 5 villages.
One who kidnaps a wife.
First they tried to disrobe Draupadi publicly, and secondly when they were in forest, the Pandavas had gone, Jayadratha comes and she tries to kidnap Draupadi. So here, although Arjuna is saying sin will overcome us, Srila Prabhupada explains that this war was actually justified. Okay, reading on 37 and 38.
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood or descendant of Vrishni comes unwanted progeny. And
an increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life for both the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by the succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me that the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
What are the other reasons Arjuna gave for not fighting the war?
That if all the men would be killed, then there would be born of Like,
There's no protection to women.
yeah.
Number one, he's saying in this war, all the men are killed. Who will protect the women? He's concerned about women and children. What else?
Family tradition.
Family tradition. The entire, there are 640 million people who died. He says, what will happen? Generally, the family traditions were upheld by the kings. Krishna says of men, I am the monarch, in Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. Family tradition of the societies were upheld by the leaders and the kings. He said, what will happen to all the traditional values? What other objections does he have?
If there will be no protection to women, then all the childs born would be degraded.
Degraded. There will be no lineage. There will be no proper lineage. Children will be degraded. Women themselves will be degraded. What else?
Ancestors, such families.
Yes. There is this Pitra and Shraddha. All of those ceremonies, the forefathers, to offer oblation to the forefathers, to take care of them, to pray on their behalf, that will all stop. What else?
Prabhu, but what is really meant by fall down? They're in a different world, or?
The ancestors of such families fall down. So, Karthik, there is this idea in pretty much every tradition that Pitra, all of my ancestors, if I do good deeds, then my Pitra, even they're not delivered, they will ultimately be liberated. This is a concept which comes in pretty much almost every tradition. That if I do good deeds, if I follow righteousness, I can protect my ascendants and my descendants. Yes? So he's concerned about that. He said that this is a ghastly sinful act. This war is not good. Why should I do this? My ancestors will fall down.
So our sin affects even our predecessors.
Our activities have an effect. By my good deeds, my transcendental good deeds, I can save my ancestors and my descendants. Okay, so that idea is there. What else? He's worried about community. What will happen to the community? What will happen to the family welfare projects? What will happen to social life? Do you see any parallel with Arjuna's concerns in today's society? Yes? Can you name an example? Give an example.
There are many rape cases nowadays.
There's no protection of womanhood, okay? In general, so many single marriages and single babies, right? Babies born of wedlock. So much family values have been eroded and corrupted. What other concerns Arjuna has here?
Family traditions nowadays, nobody is truly.
The ancient traditions, people mourn the loss of traditions. Yes, they mourn the loss of lineages, traditions, families. Before families would protect each other, they would continue those traditions. People mourn the loss of those. What else?
Overpopulation.
Huh?
Overpopulation.
Overpopulation. And how is that a concern here?
Unwanted children.
Unwanted progeny. Also, this whole idea of progeniting. According to the Vedas, when a man and woman come together, by their deeds and their thoughts, they can attract holy souls in their womb. By proper activities, by proper samskaras, they can attract good people and souls. But if all of that is not there, if the family tradition is vanquished, unwanted progeny, demoniac people may populate the earth. Because there are forces, there are demons and there are devotees or demigods looking for a womb, looking to take birth. What soul you attract, what energy you attract, it's a deep science of conception. So that's a good point, Chalta. What are the concerns?
Families have become involved in irreligion.
Irreligion is there. This idea of sin is there. Social, society, the breakdown of societal values. Okay, so these are Arjuna's questions, and after that, with tears in his hand, he sits down on the chariot. Okay, so these are Arjuna's concerns. He's a true statesman. He's a true gentleman, and that's what he is.
So ultimately, we know that Arjuna killed all of them, and he won the Mahabharata. So did he really get any sin, or did he enjoy after the?
Very good question, and that's why this enjoyment, compassion, sin. Krishna will speak the remaining 17 chapters for this. When do you get sin? What is real enjoyment? All of Arjuna's questions will be answered one by one in the subsequent chapters. Now, in the second chapter, when Sanjaya said, so we'll start with text 1.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of God has said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infinite.
Krishna chides Arjuna here. Krishna had chosen Arjuna to protect the earth. He was his instrument. Arjuna was specifically prepared for this war to protect the dharma and to restore righteousness. These people, Kamsa, Jarasandha, Karna, Duryodhana, they were very, very evil people. Now Arjuna says, I will not fight. Krishna says, Anarya, he uses this word, Kutastva Kashmalam. Kashmalam means dirtiness. Vishame Samupasthitam, in this time where this dirtiness has come upon you, Anaryam Justam Aswargam. First he tells Arjuna that this is not befitting an Aryan. Aryan means who knows the value of life. And Aswargyam, Akirti Karam Arjuna. This will cause infamy and it will cause not heaven. Because when Kshatriyas fight, if they win, they win. If they die, they still go to heaven. That's their duty of a Kshatriya, of somebody who's meant to protect. He says, Anaryam, Jushtyam, Aswargyam, Akirti Karam Arjuna. This will lead to infamy, this will not lead to Swarga, and it is not befitting a man who's an Aryan. Now in Gita, Krishna will obviously tell Arjuna later, don't worry about the Swarga and Narak, don't worry about fame and infamy. But right now, he's explaining to him this point. He also says in the next verse, he says, O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence, Klaipya. He says this is the behavior of an important person. This is another chastisement to Arjuna. To call a Kshatriya an important person is a big problem. No. So he says, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart. Shudram, he calls him Shudram. Shudram, here in text 3, of course refers to a man who doesn't really understand anything. Hridaya Gaurabalyam. He says, give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna says, no, I'm not important. I'm not a Shudra. The reason I'm not fighting is this. So text 4.
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows and battlemen like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship?
Krishna, you kill enemies, Madhu and Kaitaba. You kill the enemies. Here, look at me, my situation. I have to kill my teacher and my grandfather.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. In their case, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
I don't want to kill superiors. I want to respect them. I should not fight back with my superiors. Okay?
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Here, a very nice transition happens. Until now, Arjuna and Krishna were friends. They have always lived as friends. In text 2.7, he says, Shishyasteham shadhiman tvam prapannam. Now, I cannot figure this out. I am your disciple. I am surrendering unto you. You please guide me and instruct me. Text 8.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
So 2.11 is when Krishna now finally, after smiling, he starts speaking. And what does he say?
So, question though. So you said that in 7th verse where Arjuna now is transitioning from friendship to now surrender, and as a teacher, as a student asking this to a teacher. But before, also Arjuna referred to Krishna as like God himself.
He did not actually. And Krishna also enjoyed this relationship with Arjuna. Arjuna was the son of Kunti. Krishna and Kunti are, Krishna is Kunti's nephew. So they're kind of, Krishna's father, Vasudeva, is Kunti's brother, and Kunti's son is Arjuna. They actually had so in text 11, after Krishna shows him the universal form, here Krishna says, Arjuna says, look at text 41 and 42, 11:41 and 11:42. So Krishna has shown now Arjuna his universal form, and now after seeing the universal form, this is what Arjuna says to text in 41 and 42.
Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadav, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive me whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of my friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses.
Krishna did not reveal his divinity openly until he showed Arjuna his universal form. Arjuna wanted to really see that. He said, if you are God, then really show me your godly form. And Prabhupada explains, our acharyas explain that Arjuna made this request so that everybody can see it, and this issue is settled for once and for all. And all of the people in the heavenly planets and all of the devotees were able to see that form by Krishna's grace. Even the Devatas were able to see, Arjuna was able to see, Sanjaya was able to see. By Krishna's grace, that form. That was the first time. And then Arjuna says, I'm really sorry. Now, charioteer, in the Vedic tradition, a charioteer is a very important person because you are fighting arrows, right? And how do you do? There's no, what you call as a left-hand switch or a right-hand turn. So the guy who's fighting, he puts his leg on the charioteer's shoulder. He taps him on the charioteer's shoulder. He says, go left, go right. Sometimes he pokes him like that, Or sometimes he uses his whip to tell him which direction to go. And you have to be very precise if you're fighting with bows and arrows because they're coming from all directions. So to have a good vantage point, So here Krishna is offering Arjuna, okay, I'll become your charioteer. And Arjuna said, yes, it's fine. So it's such a lowly, humble, menial position of being a charioteer. It's almost like being an animal of somebody, a pet dog, kind of that position of a warrior. Kaikeyi once became the charioteer for Dasharatha. Dasharatha was so overwhelmed with that gesture of hers. She was an expert horseman. She was a girl, but her father Gita used to own millions of horses, and he would trade in horses. So anyway, so like that. So this here he says, I'm very, very sorry. We jested together, we laid together, we would eat together, we would sit together, we were just friends. And now I realize who you are. Okay, now Krishna says, this is Bhagavad Gita 2.11, Bhagavad Gita begins. It's 9, we'll just do for next time, okay? Now we'll cover the second chapter. It's a big chapter. So, first chapter, we find Arjuna's qualities, his reasons, we see Duryodhana's diplomacy and his statesmanship. We heard some of the conchals, which I don't expect you to remember, who blew what. And we found some interesting characters, Shikhandi, Virata, Drupada, Drishtadyumna, Draupadi, all of these people are so interrelated in this war. And now the Krishna's immortal message of Bhagavad Gita will begin from next week.
Check.